It seems just like yesterday when it was a normal, everyday occurrence for people to get whacked.
American heroes like John F. Kennedy, Jimmy Hoffa, and Jeffrey Epstein were all killed for knowing things that other people didn't want them to know. But that isn't happening anymore, right? The FBI cracked down on society's elite from killing whoever they saw fit. Right? Well, depending on who you ask, people are still getting killed by society's elites, especially if they're accusing Kevin Spacey of sexual assaults. This is because as of the making of this video, some people believe that Kevin Spacey killed 3 of his accusers, as the 3 accusers in question all died in a 9-month span from March to December 2019. But rather than taking this as truth and carrying my happy ass to the nearest church of Scientology, I have to ask, is this really true? Did Kevin Spacey really kill 3 of his accusers? And it's a question that I'll bravely answer while trying not to get whacked myself in this mental episode of Now before diving ass first into the child sex rings insane worshipping cults that Hollywood elites like Kevin Spacey dabble in, at least according to the most accurate and objective journalist I know in Alex Jones.
Kevin Spacey's a total psychopath. I mean, just look at that. There is nothing home there except fake confidence, just like Hillary Clinton. Here, let me do a fake psychopath face for you. Hey, I'm a confident guy. I'm Kevin Spacey. I love the children, and I love Hollywood. And we are the mark of liberalism and of culture. We're going to run the arts, and Nickelodeon and MTV is going to teach your children how to worship Satan.
I'd like to point out that this video is actually a complimentary video to another video that I released alongside this one titled What the Hell's Going On with Kevin Spacey, where I chronicle Spacey's fall from grace and what consequences, if any, he's had to face due to the avalanche of sexual assault allegations placed against him. If you aren't up to speed with what's going on with Kevin Spacey, you should probably watch that video first before this one, as this video will likely be a little confusing otherwise. If you'd like to start watching that video now, you can do so by clicking the link here. I'll also have a link to that video in the description below and at the end of this video. Alright, if you're ready, let's get right into the untimely deaths of Kevin Spacey's accusers. The first accuser to feel the wrath of Kevin Spacey's hitman was a 59-year-old nurse named Linda Culkin, who, since I know you were going to ask, is now related to Macaulay Culkin. I would show a picture of Linda here, but I was unable to find any images of her on the internet, which is a recurring theme in her case, as very little is known about her, and the little bit that I was able to find was spread out over multiple articles. Linda was a classic stalker, who along with having images of Spacey with his eyes blacked out, and numerous copies of a page entitled Killing Kevin Spacey in her apartment, sent threatening messages to Spacey and his associates as well, with the messages including threats to shoot, torture, and disembowel the 2-time Oscar winner. Hopefully in that order. Linda even sent a hoax letter containing white powder designed to appear as anthrax. As a result of these letters, Linda was arrested in January 2012 and received a 4-year, 3-month prison sentence. And to the most observant of watchers, you'll know that Kevin Spacey has a preference for young boys.
Help! I've escaped from Kevin Spacey's basement! Help me!
So it begs the question, why did Linda, a middle-aged woman, want to kill Kevin Spacey? Well, this is because Linda accused Spacey of sexually assaulting an underage boy who had been a patient of hers. And according to her husband, Linda suffered from depression as a result of a violent rape, which might explain why Linda has such a burning desire to avenge her patient, and why she, for lack of better words, was f***ing crazy. I would also like to point out that that Family Guy clip that I showed originally aired in 2005, 12 years before accusations against Kevin Spacey began to surface. Just one of the many signs that Seth MacFarlane does in fact know all of Hollywood's dirty little secrets.
Congratulations, you 5 ladies no longer have to pretend to be attracted to Harvey Weinstein.
Linda was released from prison in April 2016, and considering that there are no articles written about her between her release from prison and her death, it appears that Linda stopped harassing Spacey after her release. So I guess we could say that Linda and Spacey buried the hatchet, right?
Wrong-o.
This is because in February 2019, Linda was struck by a vehicle while crossing a road in her hometown of Quincy, Massachusetts, dying from her injuries 2 days later. Now I know that many of you watching right now are new to my channel, and this is the part of the video where I must confess that up until this moment in time, I've been totally busting your balls, as I don't believe that everyone in Hollywood is part of child sex rings and insane worshipping cults. Emphasis on everyone, however, because not to name any names, but I'm sure some of them are. I also didn't instantly believe the conspiracy theory that Kevin Spacey killed 3 of his accusers, and we'll dedicate the rest of the video to look at each case individually and determine the likelihood of Kevin Spacey being involved in their deaths. So to determine if Spacey had any involvement in Linda's death, the first thing that should be investigated is the circumstances surrounding her death. According to an article published by a local newspaper in Linda's hometown of Quincy, Linda was crossing the street while the traffic light was green prior to getting hit. Although I was unable to find any data that could indicate how much more likely someone is to be hit by a car when the traffic light is green versus when it is red, it goes without saying that if you try to cross the street when the traffic light is green without checking both directions first, you really shouldn't be surprised if and when you do get hit by a car. Now, even if Linda obeyed all the traffic laws and crossed the street when the traffic light was red, if Kevin Spacey had placed a hit on her, she still could have gotten ran over. Which leads us to the driver who hit Linda. According to the same article that I referenced earlier, the driver who ultimately hit Linda tried to avoid her, and in doing so, hit another vehicle head on, with both drivers remaining at the scene. I don't know about you guys, but this doesn't sound like the actions of the highly trained hitman you would expect Kevin Spacey to hire to do his dirty work. Or perhaps this is exactly what a highly trained hitman would do, as it's the opposite of what you would expect him to do in a situation like this. Call it hitception or something, I don't know. And on top of it not being a hit and run as one would expect from a highly trained hitman, it wasn't even a clean hit, as Linda died 2 days later rather than at the scene. Now that it's been established that Linda didn't put herself in the best position to not be hit by a car, and that the actions of the driver who hit her didn't seem malicious let alone intentional, we were left with one last question. Did Spacey even have motive to kill Linda? As I mentioned earlier, Linda sent messages to Spacey saying that she wanted to shoot, torture, and disembowel him, which unless you're into that kind of freaky stuff, can get pretty annoying after a while. Linda also might have had some dirt on Spacey when she accused him of sexually assaulting an underage boy who had been a patient of hers. So yes, we can definitely say that Spacey had motive to kill Linda. The only problem with proposing that he did, however, other than all the reasons I have already mentioned, is that the timing of it all just doesn't make any sense. Perhaps Spacey had yet to brace the role of his power-hungry, homicidal House of Cards character in Frank Underwood. But if Spacey really did kill Linda, why didn't he kill her earlier? He didn't kill her before she was sentenced to prison, he didn't kill her during her 4-year stint in prison, and he didn't kill her during the 2-year period between her release from prison and her death. I mean, there's taking your time and then there's really taking your time. So between Linda crossing the road and when the traffic light was green, the driver's behavior and the manner in which he hit Linda, and the timing of her death, I can say with almost utmost certainty that Kevin Spacey didn't have Linda killed. The key word here is almost, however, because despite having all these reasons to believe that Spacey did not kill Linda, I cannot 100% disprove the possibility that he did kill her. So no need to fret, conspiracy theorists. You can continue your journey down that hopeless abyss into madness. Alright, now it's time to discuss the second accuser rumored to have been killed by Kevin Spacey, that being John Doe. And by John Doe, I don't mean Spacey's creepy-ass character in Seven, but a massage therapist who accused Spacey of sexual assault and whose name was never revealed to the public prior to his death. I discussed it all in much greater detail in my other video, but among other things, the massage therapist accused Spacey of grabbing his hand and pulling into the actor's scrotum and testicles, grabbing his shoulders in an attempt to kiss him, grabbing his genitals, and offering to perform oral sex on him. The massage therapist officially accused Spacey of sexual assault in November 2018, and despite some initial objection from Spacey's attorney that the massage therapist shouldn't be protected with anonymity, the lawsuit was moving through the courts well, and a final pre-trial conference was scheduled for May 2020. That is until September 18, 2019, when it was announced that the massage therapist unexpectedly died. In a statement made by John Doe's attorney, they said that his untimely death was, to his family, a devastating shock that they are struggling to process, and is so recent that they have not yet held his funeral service. One of the things about John Doe's death that stands out as unusual was the statement made by his attorney, which again, described his death as a devastating shock that his family is struggling to process. From this, we can infer that the massage therapist probably didn't die from a chronic illness, because if he had, it wouldn't have been a devastating shock to his family. On a coroner's report, there are 4 different classifications of death, including natural, accident, suicide, and homicide. And if we rule out natural in the case of the massage therapist, we are left with the accident, suicide, and homicide. The manner in which the massage therapist died was never formally disclosed, and considering that the case against Spacey was quickly dropped after John Doe's death, this allowed the conspiracy theory to brew that Kevin Spacey had once again whacked a motherfucker. And even though John Doe's identity was never revealed to the public, and that Spacey probably did the same to many other massage therapists unlucky enough to book him, Spacey did know who John Doe was, as he was ordered to reveal his true and complete name to Spacey's attorney. So yeah, Spacey definitely could have whacked him. Despite the fact that details revolving around John Doe's death were never officially disclosed, I was still able to find 2 important pieces of information on him and his death spread out over multiple articles. The first piece of important information was his age, because according to the New York Times, the massage therapist died in September at 62, which considering Spacey's preference for young boys, came as a surprise to me. It goes without saying that the older one gets, the more likely they are to die in a given year. Because as a 62-year-old man in the United States, John Doe was twice as likely to die in a given year than when he was 52, 5 times as likely to die than when he was 42, and almost 7 times as likely to die than when he was 32. Having said that, it's still rather unusual that John Doe died at the age of 62, as it is 13 years less than the average life expectancy for men in the United States, that being 75 years old. Which is pretty remarkable given some of the stupid shit men do.
High five!
And the second piece of important information was the cause of his death, because according to Variety, a source told them that the massage therapist died of cancer. Remembering his lawyer's quote that his untimely death was a devastating shock, it doesn't make sense the massage therapist would die from cancer. As cancer is a degenerative disease, it doesn't cause people to die suddenly, right? Well, I was surprised to learn that in some cases it can, because according to characteristics of sudden unexpected cancer deaths investigated by medical examiners in Tokyo, Japan, say that 10 times fast. About 400 cases of sudden unexpected death are attributed to cancer in Tokyo and its surrounding metro every year. Considering that the population in Tokyo and its surrounding metro is 36.6 million when the article was written in 2009, just over 1 per 100,000 people suddenly and unexpectedly die from cancer that year. Or at least in Tokyo, as this number could have definitely been higher or lower in other parts of the world. Compared to the rates of the top 10 causes of death in the United States, we can see that although it is undoubtedly rare for somebody to die suddenly and unexpectedly from cancer, 14 times less likely than someone dying from suicide for example, it can and does happen from time to time. So since the massage therapist died from natural causes, we can surely rule out foul play, right? Well, yes, but actually no. This is because, as you might have noticed from the quote that I included from the Variety article, an unnamed source told Variety that the massage therapist died from cancer. And considering that Variety was the only source that I could find that made mention of the massage therapist dying from cancer, we don't really have it on good authority that this is how he actually died. It's not like John Doe's lawyer or a member of his family told Variety that he died from cancer. Just an unnamed source. I mean, I guess it could have been his lawyer or family member, but why would Variety keep it a secret? For all we know, Kevin Spacey himself had told Variety that the massage therapist died from cancer. After all, the guy is really good at pretending to be someone he's not.
Another day, another $50,000.
Spacey's also no stranger to the premise of covering up a murder, but making it look like another form of death, because in House of Cards, his character Frank Underwood makes the murder appear as a suicide by intoxicating a man, leaving him inside a running car in a garage, and letting him die from carbon monoxide poisoning. It can't be stressed enough that Kevin Spacey truly is a member of the Hollywood elite, as here he is with his good friend Bill Clinton, and of the few people who could get away with murder and silence everyone who knew about it, Kevin Spacey is one of them. Speaking of the horn dog, as I'm sure all of you know by now, Bill Clinton was good friends with the American hero I mentioned earlier, Jeffrey Epstein. This is because according to multiple sources, including the Netflix documentary Filthy Rich, flylogs show that Clinton flew on Epstein's private jet 26 times, with multiple witnesses reporting to have seen the former president on Epstein's private island, including a former island employee and one of Epstein's former victims. In response to these reports, a spokesperson for Bill Clinton posted a statement on Twitter, in which it claims that along with the former president taking a total of 4 trips on Jeffrey Epstein's airplane, he had never been to Epstein's private island of Little St. James. On second thought, I think we should dismiss the findings of these sources in favor of listening to Bill Clinton. After all, the man has never lied before about sexual indecency on his part.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Clinton was also no stranger to Shantae Davies, one of Epstein's victims of sex trafficking, as here he is enjoying a massage from Davies when she was only 22 and he was 56. Makes you wonder what other sensitive areas he had her massage behind closed doors, when the camera wasn't pointing at both of them. And before any of y'all can comment biased conservative here's that video of Trump partying with his good friend Epstein in 2002, and that quote that Trump gave on Epstein later that same year. I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy. He's a lot of fun to be with. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. Perhaps the most famous of Clinton's 26 trips on the Lolita Express was his trip to Africa to help the Clinton Foundation spread AIDS awareness. It is uncertain if Epstein was on the plane during the trip, but some people who definitely were include Bill Clinton, as previously stated, Epstein's girlfriend and #1 co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell, the actor enjoys getting massages, and Chris Tucker.
Can you direct me to Heaven on Earth massage parlor, please?
Hello, how are you?
And an actor enjoys giving massages himself, and Kevin Spacey. Now, I'm not suggesting that Spacey had sex with any of Epstein's girls on the plane, as I really doubt that he did anyway since he likes boys. It'd also be a reach for me to suggest that Chris Tucker did anything inappropriate during the trip, but considering his frequent collaborations with director Brett Ratner, who himself was accused of sexual harassment by multiple actresses, it was just a crazy coincidence that I wanted to mention. But maybe it's not a coincidence. Maybe it's something else entirely.
There is no such thing as a coincidence.
During the same trip, the group made a stop in London, where they met up with one of Epstein's most regular consumers of underage girls and Prince Andrew. While Prince Andrew gave the group a tour of Buckingham Palace, this picture was taken of Ghislaine and Spacey sitting on the royal thrones. And considering that these thrones are completely off limits for everyone other than Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philly, a beautiful soul who left this world much too young, this image perfectly encaptures two things, the first being the special treatment Spacey receives due to his social standing, and the second being his connection with the seedy, pedophilic underbelly that society's elite oftentimes mingle with. So tying all this back into John Doe's unusual death, if you ask me if I believe that Kevin Spacey killed the massage therapist, I would say, no, probably not, as the simplest explanation is oftentimes the correct one. In this case, the simplest explanation is that the massage therapist died from cancer, regardless of how unusual of a death from cancer it might have been. With that said, even someone like me who is skeptical of most conspiracy theories has to admit that this conspiracy theory in particular has some merit to it. Spacey had motive to kill the massage therapist as he was in the process of suing Spacey for sexual assault. The timing of his death makes sense as it was before the lawsuit could be heard in court. And considering his immense wealth and influence, Spacey realistically had the means to kill the massage therapist and silence everyone who knew about it. In a weird way, all this added together almost makes it more likely that Kevin Spacey did kill the massage therapist than the alternative, that the massage therapist suddenly and unexpectedly died from cancer, which although it does happen, doesn't happen very often. This conspiracy theory gains even more merit when considering the bizarre video that Spacey uploaded on YouTube the Christmas Eve after Linda and John Doe's death, titled KDWK, which is short for Kill Them with Kindness. Beginning in 2018, Spacey began uploading annual Christmas Eve videos on YouTube, with Kill 'Em With Kindness being the second of so far 3 videos that Psycho has uploaded. All 3 videos featured Spacey depicting as House of Cards character Frank Underwood, who, like Kevin Spacey himself, is power-hungry and homicidal. Spacey's first Christmas Eve video titled Let Me Be Frank, which I discussed in depth during my What the Hell's Going On with Kevin Spacey vid, blurred the line between fiction and reality, as much of what Spacey said under the guise of Frank Underwood seemed to apply to Spacey's real-life transgressions. And Kill 'Em With Kindness is no different, as what Spacey says during the video, and the way in which he says it, is very peculiar considering that 2 of his accusers died earlier that same year. I'll play the video for you guys first before taking a deeper dive into some of its more troubling parts.
You didn't really think I was going to miss the opportunity to wish you a Merry Christmas, did you? It's been a pretty good year, and I'm grateful to have my health back. And in light of that, I've made some changes in my life, and I'd like to invite you to join me.
Ah, yes, I know what you're thinking. Can he be serious?
I'm dead serious. And it's not that hard, trust me. The next time someone does something you don't like, you can go on the attack, but you can also hold your fire and do the unexpected. You can kill them with kindness.
So other than myself really wanted to know where Spacey keeps finding these cute festive outfits for these creepy ass videos, the fact that he would release this video after 2 of his accusers died is just mind-boggling, along with saying,
It's been a pretty good year.
The same year that 3 of his accusers died and 2 cases against him were dropped. Did you notice how he emphasized dead when saying I'm dead serious?
I'm dead serious.
I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious.
The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist.
And of course, who can ignore an ending like that?
You can kill them with kindness.
And just like with Let Me Be Frank, Kill 'Em With Kindness ends with the same dramatic music that I swear I didn't add myself, as it was Spacey and his people who added it themselves. I can imagine Spacey's editor showing him the video and Spacey being like, Not creepy enough. A dramatic crescendo from YouTube's library's stock audio ought to do the trick. In many respects, this video is the #1 reason why people started believing that Spacey might have killed Linda, the massage therapist. Because of worse, he's indirectly taking credit for killing them. And at best, he's celebrating their deaths and rubbing it in their noses. What we really need is Jason Bateman to kick Kevin Spacey's ass the same way this character does in Horrible Bosses. We're now ready to discuss the third accuser rumored to have been killed by Kevin Spacey, that being Ari Behn, a Norwegian artist and author who is also married to the Princess of Norway and Martha Louise. In December 2017, during an interview for a Norwegian radio station, Ari recalled being sexually assaulted by Spacey 10 years prior, when Spacey co-hosted the 2007 Nobel Peace Prize concert in Normandy. According to Ari, Spacey was seated right beside him, and after 5 minutes, said Ari, "Hey, let's go out and have a cigarette." Spacey then put his hand under the table and grabbed Ari by the balls. The most peculiar details about Ari's death was the manner and date in which he died, as Ari committed suicide on Christmas Day of 2019, one day after Spacey uploaded his bizarre Kill Them With Kindness video. Considering the timing of Ari's death and the nature of Spacey's video, including how it seems like Spacey is mocking his accusers who died, many people speculated the two are directly related and that Spacey's video caused Ari to commit suicide. And even though there's definitely some merit to this belief, further analysis of Ari's life shows that there are other important factors that need to be considered. Perhaps the most important of these factors is his relationship with Martha Louise, because after having been married for 15 years and having fathered 3 daughters with the princess, the couple got a divorce in 2017. Although it is uncertain why Ari and Martha Louise ended up getting a divorce after 15 years, it is apparent from earlier interviews with Ari that there were issues in their marriage long before the divorce. This is because in 2009, Ari made headlines after telling a local magazine that he was unhappy, chronically depressed, started drinking in the early afternoon, and expected to be thrown out of his home at any minute. Being an artist who expresses innermost intimate thoughts for everyone to see, and having been a common citizen who married into royalty, Ari was subject to immense scrutiny, much more than the average person ever has to experience. And along with his divorce, it seems like this immense scrutiny had a toll on Ari's mental health as well. In his last book, Inferno, which was released a year after his divorce and a year before his death, Ari commented on his position as a public figure in the media, saying that, "I am a clown in worst case. In best case, I am a debater and public figure. To many people, I am a fool." From this, we can conclude that there are many issues in Ari's life outside of being sexually assaulted by Kevin Spacey. And to say that Ari killed himself solely, even primarily because of his encounter with Spacey, and or because of Spacey's video, is probably too broad of a generalization to make. This finding gets even more evidence when, according to CNN and multiple Norwegian sources, Ari tells the story of Kevin Spacey grabbing his crotch more as a strange, funny incident than as an accusation of abuse. Upon further inspection, it seems that the only reason why Ari was ever called the Kevin Spacey accuser by the media was in their efforts to make the story more sensationalistic, so that they could make more ad revenue off of the story via more clicks. Sound familiar? Just another instance of the mainstream media not giving a f*** about anything but money. Considering his divorce from Martha Louise, the immense scrutiny he received much of his life from the media, and that he told his encounter with Spacey more as a strange, funny incident than as an accusation of abuse, Ari's suicide probably didn't have much to do with Kevin Spacey, neither the sexual assault that Spacey allegedly committed in Ari 10 years prior, nor the YouTube video that Spacey uploaded the day before. With that said, people are really good at downplaying the negative effects traumatic experiences can have, and for all we know, being sexually assaulted by Spacey had a bigger impact on Ari's life and mental health than he led us to believe. This becomes even more plausible considering the fact that most of Ari's personal problems that made headlines were published after Spacey sexually assaulted him in 2007. Taking all of this into consideration, it's very unlikely that Spacey killed Ari Behn, as Ari told the encounters a funny story and wasn't accusing Spacey of sexual assault, let alone taking him to court over it. That is, unless of course Spacey made the mistake of determining who to kill based on headlines written by the media. Spacey might be a homicidal cold-blooded maniac, but the guy isn't stupid. So, to recap, I don't believe that Kevin Spacey had anything to do with Linda's death, because despite having motive to kill her, what with Linda potentially having some dirt on Spacey and sending threats to shoot, torture, and disembowel him? She crossed the street while the traffic light was green. The behavior of the driver who ultimately hit her did not indicate foul play. And if Spacey did have her killed, the timing of her death doesn't make any sense. I also don't believe that Spacey killed a massage therapist, as I am naturally skeptical when it comes to conspiracy theories. Having said that, it's a conspiracy theory with some legs on it. Because not only did Kevin Spacey have the motive and the means to kill the massage therapist scot-free, but the explanation that he suddenly died from cancer is almost less likely than the possibility that Spacey actually killed him. With that said, the only real reason we have to believe that John Doe's death from cancer was sudden and unexpected was the quote provided by his lawyer. For all we know, John Doe's death from cancer was rather normal, and his lawyer described it the way in which they did, as death itself is inherently shocking. And finally, I don't believe that Spacey ordered a hit on Ari Ben either, because considering that Ari told his encounter with Spacey more as a strange, funny incident than as an accusation of abuse, I honestly don't see the motive that Spacey would have had to go through with it. Nonetheless, it can't be ignored that Linda, the massage therapist, and Ari all dying in a 9-month span is a very unlikely series of events, as there were no wars being fought, no deadly viruses being spread, and none of them were especially old. 59, 62, and 47 to be exact. The fact that all three died so close together grants credibility to the belief that Spacey killed some, if not all three of them. It's also not crazy to think that individuals with high social standings like Spacey can and do still put hits on people, as the Mafia, who once put hits on people like they were going out of style, ruled New York City with an iron fist up until the early 80s. Again, I can't prove or disprove that Kevin Spacey killed or didn't kill 1, 2, or all 3 of these people, and I'll let you come to your own conclusions with the info that I provide in this video. And just as how I didn't have to prove that Kevin Spacey sexually assaulted anyone in my other video, I don't have to prove that he killed anyone in this video. This is because, for one, I didn't accuse Spacey of killing anyone in the first place. Because after taking a deeper dive into each case, I'm actually taking his side and saying that he more likely than not didn't kill any of them. And 2, and most importantly, this isn't a closing argument in court. It's a f***ing YouTube video made for entertainment purposes. And as a result, I don't have to prove a goddamn thing. Life's a long, unfunny joke. Don't take it too seriously, people. To end this video on a more positive note, it's really satisfying to look back in the past to see how things lined up, knowing full well what the future has in store for those people. For example, it was really satisfying to see how Kevin Spacey predicted his own downfall while hosting the 2017 Tony Awards by singing these 2 doozies of lines that didn't age well.
My career shattered on the ground. I will be found.
It's also really satisfying to look back at David Fincher's movie 7, where Spacey played the calculated, unsympathetic killer John Doe, because in hindsight, it's a role that Spacey played a little too well. How did that movie end again?
What's in the f***ing box? Give me the gun.
No, it was right after that. Oh yes! How could I forget? Brad Pitt. Cleansing Hollywood of sexual predators, 1 bullet at a time. So if you made it to this point in my video, thank you for watching. If you like this video, please give it a like, and comment on it as well because it helps me and my channel a lot. And if you'd like to watch my future videos, please subscribe if you haven't already. So yeah, this is it for this video, and until next time, provided there is a next time, for any of us.